Hi, Savannah and Leanne. I wanted to just make a quick video of the comments that I made for the paper here. So as we go down, I didn't really edit it in terms of fine editing, like if I thought something needed something with the citation or anything. I'm kind of leaving that stuff for a little bit later. I was still kind of focusing more on content. I wrote this sentence here I thought could be divided into two sentences, something to the effect of, in 1917 laser fundamentals were developed, and then maybe you could say something about like who was working on development or what entity was working on development or something to that effect, and have that be one sentence. And then you could continue by saying later the effectiveness of laser use on extracted teeth was studied during the 1960s, or that sentence might not be great, but you could just divide it into two separate sentences. And then this down here, in general, I was looking over several other articles, and I remember my instructors telling me when I was working on my thesis that you always want to minimize quotations unless there is something that there's just no way you could say it better. Like they said it the best it could ever be said, and you couldn't restate it. But this statement here, the microbiological reaction to scaling and root planing was blah, blah, blah. I think that we could rework it and then just cite them instead of using the quotes. I think that would just, because you're just basically talking about a study. So we can come up with something there. I mean, and it would look very similar to the original. You just add a little bit of your own verbiage here and there. Obviously, you have to keep in what's pertinent, and then you just cite them instead of quoting them. And then down here, I didn't know if there was a date to this right here, this citation, if there was a date. And the same thing with this quotation. I think we can just say it in your own words. It'll look very similar since it's a study. You can, the information will look very similar, but you just don't have to quote it verbatim. You can just say it in your own words. And let's see. Just go down to so I just put in my methods and results kind of space holder. So overall with the introduction, I think it's looking great. You're getting, definitely you added some really good information. And I love the new addition that had to do with education. We still need to see if there are any other studies to get our word count up. So if there's anything else that's education, any other studies that have anything to do with dental or dental hygiene education and lasers, we have to cite that. And the other thing, I was reading through the last Sigma Phi article that got accepted, the one that Katie and Amy were capstone advisors on, and I was counting in the introduction how many citations they had, and they had, let's see, it was like every couple sentences. I'm just going to count real quick. I'm looking at it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the first page, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So they had 16, but some of them they quoted more than one source. So some of them they quoted 3 sources, actually several of them. So they had probably more like even 25 sources in just their introduction. So if that gives you sort of a frame of reference, so if we go through and we count up, I'm not going to do it now because that would be boring to watch on a video, but if you go through and you count every resource that you used, if you only have less than 10, then we still have to figure out a way to bulk it up, because that's what kind of gives validity to a research paper, and that's what will probably help us to actually win, is to just be really, really bulked up. And I want to dedicate some time to help you guys find that, and maybe send you some specific information that I think you should insert into the paper, but also do that, when you have time to work on it, whenever you've designated your time to work on this. That's my recommendation for the next step in the introduction, is to continue to just find resources and to just bulk it up. And sometimes it doesn't have to necessarily come specifically from a study on education with lasers, even though that would be great. But there's other things, any information where new technologies are added, or if there's technologies that haven't been added to curriculum for various reasons. Like sometimes you kind of have to get creative in your thought process. And I'll spend this weekend, we have Give Kids a Smile, so it's hard to do it this weekend. But before we meet next, I'll have a little bit more time in to kind of give you guys a little bit more guidance. But overall, I think that the introduction needs more resources, and we need about another 200 words or so. So probably another good paragraph or two, and more citations. And then as far as the discussion, your outline is spot on. I think it's really great. I did write in here a note. You're going to want about a paragraph on the limitations of the study. And that could be something like our sample size, or if we had outliers, or a weak point in the study, or how we might not have gotten all the information back from all the schools, obviously, and things like that. So we'll talk about limitations more, but you'll want about a paragraph on limitations. And then you also want a paragraph on future research. And then a final paragraph for a conclusion. But these other kind of bullet points are great. So, okay, so that's where we'll go. So if you guys continue to refine the introduction and start writing out some of the discussion, that will be sort of your marching orders. And then I will work on additionally trying to locate some more specific information to help you guys have some more ideas of what to put in here in the introduction. All right, keep up the good work. Talk to you later. Bye.